Hello everybody, it is Wednesday, the 4th of May. I want to talk about the expansion of our soul and how we do that by using this body to show us new possibilities, to teach us more than our rational mind knows, because that is the whole point. I just had a comment from my friend saying your higher self stays what it is. Yeah, you come here, you leave here, you don't change. Your higher self does not change, which is precisely the problem. Because this world is trying to evolve you. It is trying to make you into something bigger than what you were before. So if you come and you leave and you were unaffected by this, it was a meaningless experience. I was looking at spirit growth, which is pretty much saying the same thing. That is a Kabbalistic group, which is pretty much saying the same thing, talking about the nefesh, which is the lowest part of the soul. So to them there are 5 levels of soul. Or if you look at Hinduism, I think they have 8 different levels. So it comes here and it leaves and it is unchanged. And there is God never changes. And that is precisely the problem. We're supposed to change. We're supposed to evolve. And if we talk about different levels of consciousness, we must become, our soul must become that level. Again, if you come and you leave and you never change, you are the beginning, you are the end, then this was a pointless experience. Although I would say at the moment it's not that we're not changing, we're spiraling downward. I think we were on a higher level of soul at some stage and we're about to hit rock bottom. So I don't think it is that we're not changing. We're becoming less and less. So we need to expand. So how do we do that? At the moment we are going the way of the rational mind, because we have put ourselves in a bubble. And yes, the ego is in a bubble, according to what it understands. We're seeing the world, we are seeing a world that we are reading energies and we have put labels onto those energies and we know those energies and we say that's all there is. And that is our bubble. Yeah? So there are trees, mountains, seas, what we see, that is our bubble. What we know. And we're not going out of this bubble. So how do we get out of the bubble that the ego is in? Not by doing away with it. If you do away with the ego, you go into the land of no form whatsoever, because it is the ego that creates the form and puts labels onto it and shows you a reality. So how do we expand our knowledge? At the moment we're going, as I said, the way of the ego, which is the way of science. That is, we're looking at the forms and we're creating machinery that gets us deeper and deeper into the form, microscopes, telescopes, energy reading telescopes. We're now at the point of reading energy. But our soul is unaffected by that knowledge, by the head knowledge. Because we are watchers. We don't gain the entirety of the knowledge, the emotional knowledge of it all. So it doesn't change us. Yeah? But that is not the point. The point is that we should change. So we need a full body experience of this. So there is to say, the rational mind will look at it and see energy. What we must understand is consciousness. And the rational mind on its own cannot understand consciousness. For that you need the emotional experience as well. And if you are of a scientific mind, you are in your head. So you have emotionally detached. You need the whole experience in order to understand, to order to gather knowledge of consciousness. Not just energy, but of consciousness. We need knowledge of consciousness in order to expand our knowledge of consciousness, in order to become a greater consciousness. So we need the full body experience. So how do we get that? And that is by using this machinery, the body. Not building machinery, but using what we've got. And now it becomes, it's going to become a bit funny. Now, my friend said, stop thinking, and it will happen. Yeah. And if I don't understand what is happening, my heart will fail me for fear. Or I think I'm going insane, or whatever, by not understanding what is happening to me. When I started on this journey, I said, I need to understand, and damn right I do. The rational mind needs to understand what it is looking at. Or it will be in fear. And I think that is one of the reasons why we are encapsulated in this body, because there were times when we did reach out and we may have been in fear. I was shit, there's demons out there or whatever. So we went back into our bubble. Or we were driven into this bubble, where there were people that did expand out and they were burned at the stake for doing so. Yeah? They are communicating with the devil or whatever. So we were being made afraid. And in this day and age, the Spanish Inquisition has become psychiatry. They're telling you you're insane. They no longer burn you at the stake. They give you a pill for it. Stop you seeing things. But that is what this body does. When you expand outwards into the outer worlds, not in a spaceship, not the materialistic way, but the way of emotion, the emotional way, the way of your energies, expanding outward, and what will happen is your rational mind will give it form again. Because that is what this body does. This is how you're being taught inside of a story. And if you read new energies, you're making them into characters. Because that is what this world does. That is what this body does. It creates characters. So you are engaging with, and that is cultural, whatever it is you're engaging with. Angels, demons, blue elephants, you're away with the fairies. It's purely cultural. It is the story that you're in that is expanding outward and finding new characters for its story. But then you are emotionally engaged with those characters because you are full body engaging with them. You feel certain ways about them. You think certain ways about them. You are full body engaged with the energies that are around you. So that is what this machinery does. And that is how they expanded their consciousness, because they saw forms and then they interpreted those forms. And that is the next thing we need to learn. How do we interpret those forms correctly? Yeah? They are energies that are around us. I know that. We see them according to how we know ourselves. So if we go outward and we see a form that is humanoid, let's say humanoid, not quite human, that means there's a part of that energy that you do understand, that you interpret as human, because it is like yourself, like you know yourself, And there's another part there that is inside of yourself, but you don't know it. So you kind of, and there's the expansion of your consciousness, is to understand what is that other part of that character that you do not know, because it is inside of you. Otherwise you wouldn't see it at all. But what is that other part of that character? And then through the knowledge of the character outside of yourself, you gain knowledge, you expand the knowledge of yourself, you expand your soul, you expand the knowledge of your energies inside of yourself. But that is how this machinery works. It creates stories. It creates characters. And to use it correctly, you must know what it is you're doing. Or, as I said, your heart will fail you for fear. Or you think you're going insane, you're going to get a pill for it. Now, the last thing I was thinking about, and again, this needs expanding on a lot, but is that you project outward on an energy, yeah? And you know yourself on that energy. So you know yourself in a certain way, in fear or in anger. You're becoming, a certain energy. And you see again the way you're projecting out. Now, and according to the energy that is projecting out. So if you're projecting out in fear, you will see fearful images. And I think that is the book of Revelation. That is the heavens opening. Yeah? That is where the ego, or where we have reached out in fear, and what we're seeing is the sum of our fears. What is coming to us is the sum of our fears. So again, understand what it is we're doing. If you're reaching out in compassion, what you will engage with is something according to compassion. So it needs expanding, but that is what this machinery does. And that is the magic of this world. The magic of this world is that it is creating images. And you must learn, it is dream interpretation really, energy interpretation. But that is how we will expand, because we are going to not just, by the way we're given it a character, we're not just engaging with energy, but with a consciousness. And as I said, through those interactions and seeing those energies inside of ourselves, because they are, otherwise we wouldn't see them, understanding what they are inside ourselves, understanding what it is they work, and then our soul will expand in the knowledge of itself, which is what should be happening in this world. We should not be unaffected by it. We should grow through the experience. But here, if you are in science, you're just in your head, you get head knowledge of energies, but there's no knowledge of consciousness. And you're only one part of the knowledge. And you are a watcher, you are not engaged. Full body, emotionally engaged in what it is you're doing. You use the entirety of this machinery, and that's hello Fantasia. But as I said, you need to know what is happening. You need to understand what is happening, or your heart will fail you for fear. Or you go and get a pill to make it stop. Anyway, I think I leave it at this for today. And as I said, we need to think about what it is we're seeing. How do we interpret? We already have forms that people saw before, as in angels, as in nature spirits. So, and they describe those forms. So even by looking at them, what is it they saw, and what, not understanding it as something outside of ourselves, something in a different dimension, a completely different being, but something that is inside of ourselves, that we know inside of ourselves. And so what is it, as I said, dream interpretation? What is it those forms actually show you? And then the rational mind can, and it must be there. Understanding must be there. It is a part of what you are. So, yeah, let's think about that a bit more. Because I think that is what is going to happen. If the book of Revelation is coming true, that is what is going to happen. And all they're going to see is according to their fear. And that's not going to be a good thing, and it is not them, that is them not understanding what is happening to them. Anyway, I leave it at that, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.